Hi, mathematicians. Happy Tuesday. We're going to start really quickly by just reviewing the different types of patterns. We have learned about 3 different types of patterns so far. The first is a repeating pattern. Repeating patterns just repeat the same sequence over and over again. So I might have, let's see. I have some objects I could actually use. So my pattern might be tomato, jalapeno, tomato, and then another jalapeno. That's an example of a repeating pattern. We also have growing patterns, and those are patterns that increase or get bigger. We also have shrinking patterns, and shrinking patterns get smaller. If there's a plus sign in front of the rule, what type of pattern would that be if it's a plus sign? Would it be growing or shrinking? If you're adding to it, it would be growing. Yep, and if we have a subtraction sign or a minus sign in front of the rule, that would be an example of a shrinking pattern because the number is getting smaller and smaller. Yesterday we did that problem together about Trudy's rose bushes, and she started with 100 rose bushes, and she kept selling 10 each day. So the number of total rose bushes was shrinking. That was an example of a shrinking pattern. I wanted to cover some important vocabulary, and then we're going to do some practicing together. So, first, this word arrows. Here's a picture of an arrow. Arrows show which direction to apply the rule. When you see the arrows, it's showing you which direction do you apply the rule. Frames. You might see a frame that's a square. You might see a frame that's a circle or a heart. Frames are just shapes that are holding the numbers, okay? And then rule. So there's a rule box, and it'll say rule, and then right now in 2nd grade we're focusing on plus and minus. The rule box is just, or the rule is just the math operation that you're applying to the numbers in the frames, okay? Now, I'm going to erase this because we are going to do some practice problems together, and it's important that when you're learning through technology, that when I tell you to pause and try something, I really want you to pause and try that thing, because that's really going to get you thinking during the mini lesson, okay? So we're going to start here. So I am going to make some frames. The frames in this case will just be hearts. So here we have frames. And the arrows tell us we're going this direction. Okay. Now the rule box, it could be on the top or it could be on the bottom. I'm going to put it at the bottom. I'm going to put the rule. And the rule is plus 5. The rule is plus 5. So I'm going to put the number 10 here. I have the number 10 in this heart. What is 10 plus 5? If I'm going too fast, you can pause it. 10 plus 5 would be 15. And then I have to do 15 plus 5. What is 15 plus 5? 20. 20 plus 5 would be 25. And then 25 plus 5 would be 30. Okay? So we have our frames, which in this case are hearts. We have our arrows that tell us we're going this direction. And the rule, which was plus 5. Now just to save time, I'm going to keep the frames as hearts for now, so I don't have to keep redoing everything. Okay. We're going to do another example. Okay. Now, for this one, I am going to put the numbers in the hearts, and you're going to help me figure out what is the rule. So we have the number 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. So this is it getting larger or smaller? Is it growing or shrinking? Let me add the arrows to make that make more sense. I'm adding the arrows in. To go from 7 to 10 to 13 to 16 to 19, is it growing or is it shrinking? Is it getting bigger or smaller? It's getting bigger, right? So it's a growing pattern. So we know it's plus something. So how could we figure this out? Well, we're at 7 and we need to get to 10. 7 plus what number is 10? We could also use our fingers and we could go 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 plus 3 equals 10. What is 10 plus 3? 13, right? 13 plus 3, 16. 16 plus 3, 19. So the rule would be plus 3. All right, give yourself a minute, stretch out a little bit, shake your body. If you need to pause the video and come back to just give yourself a movement break, you can do that. All righty. We are going to do another example. So I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I'm going to put the rule box here. So we have rule. Okay, and then the frames this time are going to be circles. Let's see, we'll do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And our arrows are going this way. Okay, now I'm going to tell you the rule. The rule is plus 10. So is this a growing or a shrinking pattern? If the rule is plus 10, it would be a growing pattern, okay? So I am going to say the rule is plus 10, and I'm going to give you the first number. The first number is 12. Now we have 12. And we have to do 12, and what's our rule? 12 plus 10. Now, we can use our handy-dandy tens chart. Where is mine? I think mine is hiding underneath all of my things that Tilly and Lola like to sleep on. But if we're adding 10, you could use the tens chart, and I can show you how to do that in small group and actually just move 10 down. Or I could just add 12 plus 10. I could use my fingers, or I could add using this strategy here, 12 plus 10. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this from first grade, but 2 plus 0 equals 2, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So 12 plus 10 equals 22. And now I need to add 10 again. This time I'm going to use my fingers. I'm at 22 and I need to add 10. 22, 23, 29, 30, 31, 32. It'll put me at 32. What do you notice about these numbers? We have 12, 22, 32. What do they all end in? What's in the ones place? A 2, right? And the tens place is just going up by 10. Okay, so I'm at 32 and I need to add 10. I want you to find what 32 plus 10 is. You can use your fingers to count. You can use another strategy. But I want you to find the answer and then unpause the video. Okay, so you're going to pause the video, figure out what number goes here. All right, welcome back. 32 plus 10. If you put 42, that's right, it is 42. If you had another number, pause the video and figure out where did you go wrong? Where did you make your mistake? And remember, mistakes are okay. That's how we learn. That's how we light up our brains and grow. Okay? Now we're going to do another example. Let me erase some of this. Okay. Next up. This is a little bit more complicated. So, I'm going to give you the number in the middle. So I'm going to change the frames and make them be squares. 1, 2, 3, I guess they're more like rectangles, 4, 5. And in this case, I'm going to tell you the number in the middle is 46. The number in the middle is 46. And the rule is plus 5. Okay? The rule is plus 5, and this number in the middle is 46. So we know that when we're moving in this direction, what do we have to do? We just have to add 5, right? So let's start by doing that, because that's what we know. So if we're at 46, we have to do 46 plus 5. We have to add 46 plus 5. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. Okay? And then we have another frame here, so now we have to do 51 plus 5. 51 plus 5, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. Okay, so that's great. We figured out these 3 numbers, but now we have to figure out which numbers will go on the left. In order to do that, it's a little bit more tricky. In order to do that, we've got to think, how will we find the numbers that come before 46? Because these numbers that come before 46, would they be smaller or larger than 46? They would have to be smaller, right? Because we have our growing pattern. So these 2 numbers would have to be smaller. Now, what we have to do to figure these numbers out is we actually have to use something called the inverse operation, which basically inverse is a fancy way of saying the opposite. So we have to do the opposite of addition. Now, if you take a look here, if I do the arrows the other way, what would I have to do to 56 to make it 51? I'd have to subtract 5, right? 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51. To get from 51 to 46, what would I have to do? I would have to subtract 5. So now, to figure out what's in this box, or in this frame, I'm going to have to subtract 5. So I have to do 46 minus 5. All right, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41. And then last but not least, I would have to subtract what number? 5. I would have to subtract 5 from 41. So what I want you to do is you are going to do 41 minus 5, find the answer, and then you're going to play the video again. So pause, find 41 minus 5, and then be ready with the answer. Pause the video. All right, welcome back. If you subtracted 41 minus 5 and you had 36, you are correct. If you subtracted and you had a different number that was not 36, that's okay. Remember, mistakes light up our brains. What I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and see what happened, see where you went wrong, see what mistake you made. And if you would like to, you can share the mistake you made with me on Seesaw. I would love to know. Because when we're normally together, we can share our mistakes and learn from them. It's a little bit harder when we're doing distance learning. All right, so let me just make sure that's everything before I stop my video. Okay, there are a few more problems, but what we're going to do is I'm going to send these problems to you on Seesaw so you can show me what you know. And after, you are going to work on an IXL activity. It's IXL activity L6, which is all about what's the rule. So you're looking at numbers and frames, and you're telling me what is the rule. Now, take a look at Seesaw so that you can finish up your work. I hope you have a great day. And if you have any questions about anything from this video, please let me know on Seesaw.